Hi, good day. Welcome to CMS. In this video, we'll continue the management and cost control for our project, and we'll go now for step 5.4, which is resources cost control. Before we already finished the overall cost control and we saw how to deal with it. Now we need to go for the resources itself. Each important several resources required to make a control on it. Like what? We have materials and manpower. Materials like the concrete, steel, block mortar, tiles, tile mortar, plaster mortar, cement, black sand, and washed sand. So CMS will make an automatic cost control and quantities control for these material. Further to the manpower control. Which kind of manpower, which are the most important resources you have in your project: carpenters, steel fixers, masons, plasterers, and tile fixers. Why CMS is doing this? It is very important when you are making an execution to control your resources, because actually your time program and your progress on site depend mainly on these resources. If you cannot identify why your progress is or not in the best way, you will have a problem. CMS will help you for this. He will give you an automatic indication and a clear indication for all your important resources required on site. He will tell you about your performance in material consuming and your performance for your manpower productivities and work on site. Accordingly, you will make the required actions and mitigation to enhance and improve your material consuming and your manpower productivities. So let's see now how CMS will deal with this. We'll start now with the materials. We'll talk for an example now, material like the steel. When we click on steel, it will ask you to follow these steps. Step 1, click to run. Go to step 2. Step 2 is to modify the percentage if required. Which percentage? These percentages. Actually, these percentages are equal the same percentage which we already inserted in the earned value. So mostly you are not required to change unless if you have a concern. What kind of concerns? Maybe you inserted in the earned value, you complete for the RC foundation, say 50%. For example, in your full foundation, you have a steel work and carpentry work. Maybe you are considering 50% of the work is steel work and 50% is carpentry work. If you finish 100% of the steel work, that means you only finish 50% of the foundations. That means you will insert here in the earned value for the foundations 50% only. But actually, you are right, it's 50% of the foundation, but it's 100% of the steel work. That's what I mean, and that's why CMS leaving this for your discretion. If you need to modify against the earned value, you can modify it. Otherwise, not need to change. And this will considered only in the reinforcement concrete work. So that's for step 2. You will modify these if required. Third step is to enter the actual quantities in the bank cells. Here, as we did in the all cost, we'll do here also in the resources. What are the actual resources per week? Because each of this cell equal 1 week. So you will insert here what the actual quantities came to the site and used in the work in this week. So we'll insert now the actual quantities which we received and worked at site in this banks according to the which time we received and worked with. So for example, now we can insert here the actual quantities. That's what we actual receiving on site in last month. What else? That's it. You only insert these quantities according to the actual on site. Then click to render. Okay. Material performance report is ready. Thanks for waiting. That's it. Now you have your report. So we have now this bar chart for steel work, the type of work and the activities which have rebar work. Here is the planned rebar value for each activity, and that's the actual value which already consumed for each activity according to this data which we inserted. Accordingly, we have now here a baseline for consuming of the rebar. Every week, how much we have to consume according to the plan. According to the work schedule and the dates of start and date of finish for each activity, CMS make for you a baseline automatically how you will consume the rebar every week. This will be weekly. So he's giving you an indication about your consuming of the rebar every week. At the end, you will have planned quantities flow. This for your reference to arrange your procurement according to this amount every month. He's telling you that you will need the rebar from month 4, and that's the amount every month. That's the plan. According to what? According to this bar chart, which is depending on the planned quantities and the planned dates. And according to the actual consuming, which you already inserted now, you will have the status report for the consuming of the rebar here. You will have here steel quantity status for this date, the report till this date, which is the cutoff date. Here is telling you also about information about the project, the duration of the project, the current month. Here is the planned finish. Here is the planned value for the rebar work. According to the planned value, we should complete 1,546 ton, but the earned value which we already finished is 1,343. That means we should complete work more than whatever we did. And this value cost us this quantity, 1,335. Why there is a variance here between the earned value and the actual quantities? Maybe there is a mistake in the calculation. Maybe you consider more margin, and during our consuming we didn't make too much waste, so we save some rebars. Maybe you find some way to save some rebar. And the same if we have here the quantities, the actual quantities more than the earned value. That means you consume more than the required rebar in the other case. Accordingly, here the cost performance index is more than 1 because you already consume less rebar for more quantities, but you are in delay for the rebar work because you already finished work of 1,343 instead of 1,546. Here is telling what is the full quantities according to the plan, and then he is telling you also the forecasting. And also is giving us here two cases. If the CPI, which you already find it here, always unstable, we will follow this equation, and that's the estimate at completion quantity. If the CPI is stable, we will use this equation, and that will be the estimate at completion. So you will choose here the case, and you have to identify and to consider the case, either your CPI, as we discussed now. What the meaning of CPI here for this materials? This cost performance index is stable or not? Is it the common of your work or not? If you found yourself you are making this saving every month, so you can consider this your CPI is stable and choose case 2. So you will step here and choose case 2. In this case, he will give you what will be your estimate at completion. Your budget was 10,543, which is the amount which you shall finish and consume till end of the project. But actually, according to your performance, which is good, you will not consume all 10,543. No, you will consume only 10,478. This is very important also for your procurement plan and for reviewing your project costs. If you identify that the CPI not stable and whatever you did this month or previous month is a special condition because of some deleting of some items or changing the rebar size for any reason, and that's why you have saving in the rebar, and maybe this will not happen again, so you'll not consider that CPI is stable, and you'll go for the unstable, which is case 1. Then you'll choose case 1 only. He's telling you here what the consuming at the end of the project and what is estimated at completion. Here he's giving you the planned quantities flow, how much you have to deliver every month, and here is giving you the actual which you are delivering up to date. And that's also a chart for the cumulative values. You can change the format of this chart if you like. That's for the rebar. The same will be for all kinds of the civil resources. You'll do the same in the concrete. You have here all the bar charts and all the activities which have concrete. Here is the planned value for each activity, and has here the consuming every week. You will insert also the actual. You will follow the same steps. At the end, you'll find the report, which is telling us you about your performance for consuming these materials, and is telling you also what is the estimated at completion for this material instead of the planned quantities. Whatever will be the result, you will take the action accordingly. If you don't have a good performance in consuming of this material, you have to take an action, a mitigation action, or you have to find the reason for this kind of wastage. The same for all civil material resources. Block work, you have the same. The block mortar, you have the same. Tiles, you have the same. Tile glue, you have the same. Plaster mortar, which is the ready mortar, you have the same. Cement, the same. Black sand and wash sand. You have these 10 types of materials, which is most important materials and the resources for using in the construction projects. Next video, we'll talk about how to make the same control for the manpower. Thank you and see you. Bye.